Welcome back, everybody, to Double Down with Breslo, where we cover everything going on in the world of sports betting. We do travel around the globe typically for these interviews that we do. Today, we're connecting from Los Angeles, going across the country to New York to bring aboard Francesco Borgosano, who is the CEO of Huddle, a sports gambling provider. And we're going to get into the details of everything that he does, but he comes to us by way of Italy. We were just covering. I think you might pick up the accent. Francesco, welcome to the program, and let's start by talking about what town you were born and raised in.
Yeah, hi James. Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm born in Sicily. So I'm born in Messina, raised in Messina, and then moved to Rome. So I studied in Rome.
Well, I'm half Sicilian, my brother, so
Nice.
you could probably tell by. Could you tell
there
by my
isn't a better
accent?
place. Exactly. There isn't a better place in the world. That's
But how come everybody leaves?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, economy isn't great, especially for new generation. We don't have, let's say, modern companies, tech companies. So everyone really moved to the north. Like, most of my friends moved to Milan or, Turin. Uh, but everyone who is from Sicily always goes back.
Yeah.
There is this say in Italy that is like you can take the Sicilian away from Sicily, but you cannot take away the Sicily out of the Sicilian.
Well, that I didn't know that saying, but I'm going to give you a quick story that proves that it's true, because my grandparents are from there, not my parents, but my grandparents, and I went back and visited about 5 or 10 years ago, and they're from close to Palermo and a town called Cerda,
Yep,
which is
I know
close
that.
to Cefalù.
Yep, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So we stayed in Cefalù, which was maybe 25-minute drive to Cerda, I guess. And only went for 3 or 4 days. So went to see my grandfather's hometown. And you can of course go and look in the records book and this and anyway, his last name was Muscarella. So we saw the Muscarella name, at a couple spots around town. But I have to tell you that the feeling that I had when I was in Sicily, going for the first time in my life 5 years ago, was that I was home.
Yeah, 100%.
It
Yes.
felt like home. So you talk about taking the Sicilian out. Here's a guy who was born in the U.S., Florida, etc., lives in L.A., and I go back to Sicily, and the overwhelming feeling I have is that I'm home. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I think what you said, it really contributed to that in the sense that because there are so many, immigrant around the world, you know, when you go back there, you end up meeting other people that share your experience. So we always add that, feeling of, sharing and welcoming. And so I think that what makes going back special.
Yeah. I mean, everything's just so natural and real there. When you have a meal somewhere, everything comes from less than 5 miles away,
Yes,
probably, right?
exactly.
But what I also noticed is when you're driving around, it's only old people because all the young people have to get out of there because there's nothing to do there.
Yeah, there's nothing to do, and don't get me started on like public services, like public transport. Like forget about that. So you need your own car, you need your own. Yeah, living there again, and now I've been away for almost 20 years, so it'll be very difficult for me to leave there.
Yeah.
That is still, my hometown and still the place where I grew up and born. So
How often do you go back?
I try to go back at least once a year. Just my parents still live there, so I love to bring the kids back there. Spend some time during summer, and so I try to go back at least once a year.
And where is your town? Is it close to,
Messina, it's
and
Messina.
where is that?
Messina is actually the northeast corner of Sicily, so it's the closest point to the mainland. So if you're coming from mainland, is where you come from the ferry.
Oh, okay. Is that kind of like the most touristy part, or Taormina is close to there?
Correct. Taormina is like a 30 minutes drive. But you may have, I think what recently brought Messina to the media is that is where they're building the bridge. You know, the bridge. So the bridge that will connect Sicily if they ever build. That's a different story. But
Wow, I hadn't heard that story. So for the first time ever, you could drive from Sicily to
correct.
Italy, essentially?
Correct. It's been approved this year after decades that have been talking about this. It's been approved, and now it seems that they finally gonna start working on it.
How many miles long would that bridge be?
That will actually be that will be the longest. Um, I'm not an engineer, but it will be the longest like single arch bridge that connect to land, and
Uh-huh.
it's about like 1.8 miles.
12.8 miles.
No, 1.8.
Oh, 1.8. That's still
It's
big though.
still, yeah, it's still a big, yeah.
But yeah, but at the end of the day, a couple miles isn't that. I am kind of surprised that hadn't been built yet. I would imagine though that maybe there's some opposition in Sicily that they don't want to have the
Yeah, exactly.
connection.
The biggest opposition is about the impact because you know the that strip the triple C between Sicily and Italy, you know, is a very special like ecosystem. So the biggest opposition has always been like, what's the impact of building a bridge over that sea? Because you know there's going to be like a massive shadow, so that will change, you know, the temperature of the water and all that. And again, I'm not an engineer, so it's difficult for me to have an opinion one way or another. But I think the biggest opposition has been that on the impact on the ecosystem.
I'm blanking on the name of the what's the series that they just filmed there for HBO?
White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That was correct. That was in Taormina. Exact beautiful place. By the way, next time you're in Sicily, you should go to that place where they shot the TV show. It's amazing.
Oh, the actual
Yeah, the
hotel.
actual it's a restaurant. Like you can go. It's an hotel, but there's also like a Michelin star restaurant. It's an
Oh
amazing
wow.
place.
What's the name of that hotel?
It's called San. Oh man, they changed the name now. I think it's San Tegidio because it's
That's
amazing.
okay.
Because
I
it
have
used to be a
ChatGPT.
church. Because it used to be a church.
Oh wow, very cool.
So it was a church built back in the 16th century. So then it became a monastery, and then after the monastery, it was refurbished as an hotel.
All right. Well, you're getting me excited to get back there. I got
Exactly.
married. I got married in Tuscany region 6 years ago. Every
Nice.
part of Italy is awesome. I haven't seen a bad part of Italy yet.
No, exactly. You can't go wrong in Italy. Yeah, wherever you travel.
But now you are in New York. How long have you been in New York?
I've been in New York now for almost 7 years. So I moved here soon after PASPA was repealed. So I moved here in late 2018. And I
Okay.
first joined, so first I joined a company called SimpleBet. Not sure if you remember, and they were later acquired by DraftKings. So I joined SimpleBet. So I was at SimpleBet for a few years. And then after SimpleBet, I founded Huddle, and I'm currently CEO. So it's been now 5 years at Huddle.
I hope you didn't move to New York to escape socialism.
Well, now we'll see with the election in 4th of November, because yeah, I may not find the right place to escape that, given how the major race is shaping up.
Yeah, well, that's a different show that I do. That's a political show. We'll try to stick to the gambling
Stick
here.
to the sports betting, yes.
Yeah. So your company Huddle, give us in a nutshell exactly what Huddle does.
Yeah, so the elevator pitch is that we are a premium odds feed provider and trading service provider. So we specialize on US sports. So we have, you know, what we consider a premium offering. So player props, micro market, same game parlay, and we cover all the major sports, including college, you know, WNBA. You can everything that is like US related. We cover it.
So you guys are providing the lines to the front end sports betting operators.
Correct. We provide basically the lines as a service. So we provide the lines to operators, media companies, you know, fantasy providers. So because again, our expertise is the kind of like the algorithmic side. So our team is primarily made of, you know, traders and quant and data engineers. So we work on the algorithm, everything that goes behind the curtain, and then we offer that as a service.
And you guys specialize in micro betting, is that right?
We cover micro betting as well. Yes, micro betting is one of the, I would say, fastest growing, you know, segment of the live betting. So yes, we cover micro betting as well. But I would say the primary driver, even in terms of like volume, is around player props. I think the player props are the most popular product.
Okay. And I noticed in reading the description, you guys talk about in-game or same game parlay. What's the same game parlay product?
Yeah, so the same game parlay is something that I would say it's an innovation that came with the United States in particular, and it's basically the ability of combining outcome within the same game. So, for example, we were talking about the World Series. Like, you could bet on Ohtani to hit an home run and the Dodgers to win and to cover the spread. So you could, so back, I would say, prior to 4 or 5 years ago, you were not allowed to combine outcome within the same game. You could only combine across different games. Like, you could combine, you know, a Dodgers game with a Yankees game, but not within the same. So that's why the name same game parlay. And
Gotcha.
the challenging in that is that once you combine that, because the two things are correlated, because of course, if Ohtani hit an home run, then the Dodgers are more likely to win. Then there is a certain complexity that goes into calculating the odds.
Gotcha. So basically, the uniqueness of the product is that you guys aren't afraid to offer that bet. A typical
Correct.
sports book operator is going to say, "No way am I going to let you parlay
Correct.
Ohtani hitting 2 home runs with the Dodgers winning," because obviously they would. But you guys said, "No, we can still offer that bet. Obviously, the odds aren't going to be as good as a typical parlay."
Exactly. Correct.
Yeah. And how is that becoming somewhat popular?
It's becoming very popular, and I think that ties with kind of like the way new generation consume sport and the way new generation think about sport, in the sense that, you know, I grew up in, you know, and I was never like a huge gambler, but I used to bet, and, you know, usually you would pick an outcome, pick your game, and just wait and watch the game and see what the outcome. I think now, because of the social media and all the narratives, I think the player likes to think its own narrative and see the bet how is exactly as you would describe. It's like, you know, let's say I'm a Dodgers fan, and I'm like, you know, I'm telling you, I think tonight Ohtani is gonna do a 2-home run, and I think the Dodgers are gonna. So why you think about what's gonna happen in the game? You want to see the odds building up while you're thinking about it. So I think it's just how new generation. And I have to say, that was also something that I learned moving to the States. I think the US consumers are way more statistical oriented compared to, let's say European better. So they like to bet on not only on the outcome, they like to bet on, you know, number of hits, like RBI, all this type of like statistics in the game.
Well, I think that's a difference between the primary sports, right? Because I'm not a big soccer guy, so I don't necessarily know this, but it seems to me soccer doesn't have all those kind of statistics, right? Baseball's got a ton of them, football's got a ton of them, basketball secondarily.
100%. Yes, you're totally right. I think, and same goes for the players. I think the impact that individual players have in the US sports is way more significant than in any other sports. So I think that's also what drive, again, sticking to my friend in New York won't like it, but if we stick to the West Coast, if you are a Lakers fan, you know, you follow Doncic, you follow Austin Reeves, and you really, you know, go behind your players. So I think that's that's definitely true for the US sports.
Yeah. And then the micro betting is mostly about the next play, right?
Micro betting is about which again, it ties NBA is not a good example, but it ties very well with the dynamic of the game. Like if you think about American football, you have play by play, you have a new set of play, and then you keep going play by play. Same if you think about baseball, you go pitch by pitch. So I think specifically baseball and American football, they have a great fit with the micro market.
So are the big guys, DraftKings and FanDuel, where are they right now on micro betting? If I'm on FanDuel or DraftKings, can I bet literally on the next pitch, whether it's going to be a ball or a strike?
I think they were definitely the first movers in that space, and that's I mentioned Simple Bet. That's why DraftKings, acquired Simple Bet to strengthen their capability in that space. So I think yes, DraftKings and FanDuel for sure have put a lot of focus on that space, but I think now everyone is catching up. Like if you look at ESPN Bet or Bet MGM, everyone is trying to join the wagon.
Yeah, I mean, it basically turns a sporting event into a slot machine
Correct.
because you're
Correct.
basically you're hitting that button every 30 seconds essentially. If it's football, there's a new play every 30 seconds. If there's baseball, there's a new pitch every 15 seconds. If it's tennis, there's a new point every minute. So
And actually, that example is also reflected in the betting behavior, in the sense that something that we have observed is that usually for this type of micro betting, you have smaller stakes. Because exactly to your point, because you're betting every minute, every 30 seconds, you're not going to bet, $20, $50. So you see a lot of like, $1 bet, $2 bets, exactly as you described, same experience as you have in a slot machine. It's like, okay, just give it $1, see the play, give another dollar, and just go for it.
yeah. And I mean, AI has to play a huge role in setting those odds because it's got to be set very quickly.
Yeah, for
And
sure. I think data is definitely what is pushing the envelope, in the sense that now we have access, as I say, from a modeling perspective, we have access to every data points that you can think of in real time with low latency. So yeah, really data and automation is what driving that. There is no other way. Like there is no, I've been in this industry now for almost 15 years. So I started in a world where the odds maker would be a person sitting there with your newspaper writing down lines, and now it's just not feasible. So now you need to trust your algorithm, trust your research, and just go with it.
yeah. So, and what about, players, of course, now have access to AI. That's pretty darn good. Is it possible for players to use AI to somehow beat the house?
I think it's a little bit difficult for players, mostly because they don't have the same access to data that we have. Like just to give an example, we process for all the majors like between 15 and 20 years of play-by-play data to come up with our algorithm and to come up with our lines. So while yes, you may have access to some open source data, it would be difficult for a player to have the same level of information that we have.
So give me an example of something that Huddle does that you guys are essentially providing to the big boys when it comes to whether it be micro betting or anything that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the micro betting, by far the most popular. If you stick to baseball, the most popular is the plate appearance. You can bet on individual player. If it's going to be a single, a double, treble. So that's definitely the most popular.
Okay, so you guys are setting the line
Yes, for
for
every
any.
possible outcome of the plate appearance.
I mean, were you guys providing it for the World Series game last night?
Yes, we were provided that for the World Series. Yeah,
Even though you were in bed.
that's why I tried to stay up as long as I could. And I managed to get to the extra innings, but then I gave up around like midnight my time. I just gave up.
But I imagine it probably doesn't require you to be operating the system. So does it
Yes, we have
operate? Yeah.
Yeah, we have 24/7. So we have our trading team is based, but they were lucky because they're based in Vegas. So they were on, Pacific time zone. But yeah,
But is there an actual guy setting the line for that player, or is it all 100% automated?
no. So the work, I would say, of the traders has changed over time in the sense that now they don't set necessarily the line in real time. They do all the research before the start of the game. So they will do research on, and we have for example, for baseball, we have about 140 parameters that goes into the algorithm. So, they will, before the game, they will think about, efficiency of Otani against, left-hand batter or right-hand batter. They will think about individual matchups. So they will think about like, weather condition. Like those are all the things that they will think about before the game. So when they set the opening line, and then once that's done during the game, as I said, the pace is just too fast. So they will just, I would say, trade by exception. So they only intervene if something is going wrong. Otherwise, they will just trust the algorithm.
So the AI, Otani's coming to the plate. It's
Yeah.
in the ninth. It's in the ninth inning. The AI is going to set a line, and will they actually review it before they send it out live?
No. The line goes out automatically. What they do is they see the bets coming through. So they can react if they see, sharp activity or if they see bets that they don't like.
Now, if there's a pitching change before Otani's at bat,
Yeah.
they will program in that new pitcher.
Yes, and that's what they study. So they study, pitching efficiency. They try to predict, when the pitcher is going to be relieved. So this is I would say, where they add the value because that's the know-how of a baseball expert. But once all of that is encoded into the algorithm, if there is a pitch, and go back to your previous question, we get those data in real time. So in real time, Radar is the official data provider of the MLB. So we will know in real time if there is a, pitcher change, if there was the score, what was the, what's the weather. All of this is information that gets feed in real time during the game.
And then let's turn to football for a second, since we're in the height of the football season, and kind of walk us through how it works there, because I presume for football, it's a bet on every play.
Football, you can bet on every play, but I would say actually that's not as popular as the pitch by pitch. In football, what we see as the most popular is the next drive, which again is a bit of a slower because a drive can take up to 7-8 minutes on average. But I think it also goes back to what we were saying earlier about when you think about those micro markets, there is like a threshold on how much you can push the micro market in the sense that it has to be something that is meaningful for the game. So yes, the play may have an impact, but really when you're watching your NFL game, you think about, okay, I think this drive is going to score a touchdown. So usually the micro markets tie very well to the narrative that the sport fan has in his or her mind while they're watching the game.
So let's tick through the various sports then, and tell me what's the most popular micro betting for that sport. So for football, you're saying it's the next drive.
Football is next drive. Baseball is the plate appearance. And in basketball is the next field goal type. So it's basically you bet on the next field goal to be a 2-point, 3-point, or a free throw.
Oh, okay. And hockey probably kind of difficult.
Okay, so it's a little bit difficult. We have what we call like time slice, so you can bet on if there's going to be a goal in the next 2 minutes or in the next 3 minutes. But I would say similar to you mentioned soccer. I think ice hockey from a game dynamic perspective is very similar to soccer. So it's not really like a great fit for micro market. So usually the micro market is like a next team to score or the next player to score. So it's like the next goal to happen.
Mhm. So where are we, if you know, let's stick with US sports for a second, on total amount bet prior to a game starting
Yep.
versus amounts bet once a game starts?
Yeah, I think now live is definitely it definitely took over. So when I remember when PASPA was repealed, it was 70-30 for pre-match and in play. I think now it's almost the opposite. Now it's about 65% is in play wagering and 35 is the pre-match.
And then when we talk about that in-play wagering, break it up if you can between, because I know that you're in the middle of the game, the line is always changing for the game. So if it's a football game, the team was favored by 7 going in and they're already up 10-0. Now the line's going to be minus 17, right?
Correct.
So is that where you'd say most of the in-game betting is?
Yeah, I think the money line, the spread still, because of course as you described, you keep updating your spread and money line during the game. So I think the money line spread is still the biggest portion, but now player props account for almost 40%. So player props is, I would say, the fastest growing segment for in-play wagering.
Uh-huh. Now, obviously you can do a player prop before the game or during the game. What's the balance there?
Uh, I think player props are actually more popular during in-play because again, you don't want to bet earlier if you don't know the lineup. So usually, I would say the player props activities start half an hour before the start of the game. Once once the lineup is confirmed and your player is playing, then that's where you start seeing action on those props.
Uh-huh. So if we're talking about football, in the first quarter, the second quarter, people are betting over under Patrick Mahomes total
Correct.
passing yards.
Passing yards, yes, touchdown, completion, this type of things.
Uh-huh. And then of course, we should, since we're talking about player props, we only got a few minutes left, but just to touch on the FBI bust on these player props, it's very easy to throw individual statistics when you're talking about player props. Are you seeing what the FBI bust of these
Yeah, of
NBA
course.
players? Do you think
Yeah,
this
of
is going to
course.
have any impact?
We're following very closely because said we are a partner of Sport Radar, and Sport Radar is part of the NBA, so following very closely that. I think it's undeniable that, as you said, it's easy, and I would say players also feel less guilty of throwing away a single basket because they can still win the game at the end of the day, so they feel less worried about that. But again, I don't think because there's been a lot of like talking about this. We should ban player props. We should limit. I don't think banning player props is really a solution. If anything, you're just going to push players toward black market and unsavory actors in the ecosystem. So I think for me the best way forward is just like as we already doing. I think is a joint effort from operators, league to share as much data as possible. And this is where AI can really make an impact because it's easy to detect betting patterns and if there is weird volume going up. So I think that's the only way to control and prevent this type of activities.
So they've really only busted a couple NBA players for doing it. What does your gut tell you? Do you think there's a lot more out there that hasn't been busted yet?
Yeah, I think he's definitely. I mean, I wouldn't make this as a breaking news in the sense that match fixing and corruption has been in the betting world since betting has been around. So I don't think the problem will be completely solved. And yes, I would imagine that there are for sure other players that may be tempted to uh, you know go down that path. But as I said, this is an effort that the industry is now taking like add on. So I think we will see more of this coming out, and hopefully that will clean up the ecosystem and make everyone feel more comfortable about the fairness of the betting ecosystem.
Yeah, well, an easy way to take care of it is just get rid of the unders. because the
Well,
only way these guys can throw.
yeah, and by the way, this is already happening. For example, in the US, for some of our clients, for example, we only offer one side of the bets.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
already happening.
Yeah. Well, with your Sicilian mafia roots, this is all very natural for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was definitely that was the one thing I wasn't surprised to see on the news that the Sicilian families were involved into that.
All right, Francesco Borgosano. Am I pronouncing it well with my Italian accent? Borgosano.
Yes, Borgosano. Exactly. You nailed
Borgosano.
it. Yes, you nailed it.
Francesco Borgosano. Thank you so much for coming on Double Down with Breslo. The company name is Huddle. How can people find you or find Huddle?
Yeah, they can find us on our website, Huddle Tech. And yeah, we're a B2B company, so they can find our contact there. And if you are an operator or a media company and need, premium odds, they know where to find us.
All right, Francesco Borgosano, thank you so much again for coming on Double Down, and thank you all for watching and listening. We'll be back soon with another great episode.
Access real-time data and intelligent analytics exactly when you need them. Get the right data at the right time. Learn more at quotemedia.com.